Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we check out temperatures across the region, finally getting some relief from the heat and the humidity across the Great Lakes, parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley, and the eastern Corn Belt. I guess I'm bringing that up first because where I'm recording this video, located right in Champaign, Illinois, 62 degrees. This is about the first time I can remember in the last several weeks that we're not waking up to temperatures at sunrise in the mid to upper 70s, with those dew points also in the low to mid 70s. So again, some relief spilling into portions of the northern plains, the Great Lakes, the mid-Mississippi Valley, almost down to the Ohio River Valley as we wake up here on this Tuesday morning. All of this on the heels of a big frontal boundary. You can see it in the cloud cover here, extending all the way from the northeast, all the way across the Ohio River Valley, back into portions of the southern plains. You can see that when we look at the radar as well, some showers and storms in a broken line here, again, from New England all the way back into the southern plains. We're going to be quiet for the most part as we talk about severe weather over the next 3 days. We've got the outlooks here for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. We've got a marginal risk across portions of the northeast, coastal areas there today. As we head into the day tomorrow, we'll see a marginal risk across the high plains, parts of Wyoming, down across western South Dakota, Nebraska, into Kansas. Again, looking at the potential for some high winds and hail with a couple strong storms there, and then the severe weather risk, again, low. A marginal risk here across parts of southern Kansas as we head into the day on Thursday. Now, as we look at the hazards map from the National Weather Service, we're starting to see those heat advisories, excessive heat warnings being forced off to the coasts as we build a trough into the midsection of the country. So we'll be talking about cooler temperatures and some locally heavy rainfall as we head into the next 7 to 10 days across the midsection of the country. A big change from the heat and the drier weather that we've been talking about over the last several weeks. The reason for this is a very obvious evolution here in our upper level pattern. I'll hit play on it and just show you where we're headed. Again, we've been featuring a pattern here that's really been dictated by a ridge across the midsection of the country. The jet stream winds well off to the north in the Canadian Prairie. We've seen a trough, though, that started here across western Kansas, moving up and over the top of this ridge here into the Great Lakes. It's got us with a little bit of a different look here as we get started. Again, strong northwest flow coming around the base of that trough right now. That's what's helped bring in some of the cooler temperatures across portions of the Corn Belt here on this Tuesday morning. And as we head deeper into the week, we're going to see another trough that's making its way over the top of that ridge here across the west, with a little bit more of a south and easterly position here that's going to anchor itself in the central U.S. And so that's going to bring cooler weather even further to the south, and it's also going to take the heavy rain threat and send it off to the south of the Corn Belt as well. Now, as we kind of look a little bit deeper here, kind of between the lines, looking at the vorticity plot, again, we can see the big upper level low off to the north, but you can see a couple subtle features as we head through the next couple of days that are going to really drive the precipitation forecast as we head to the end of the week. Now, the first player, it is subtle, but you see this little patch of higher vorticity right now. This is going to slowly make its way along that frontal boundary. Remember, we still have this boundary just kind of draped back through this region from New England all the way into the southern plains. So wave number one travels along this boundary as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, bringing the threat for some heavy rainfall here across portions of the Mid-South and the Ohio River Valley, the Ozarks as well. Wave number two on the backside already making its way along that same frontal boundary as we get into the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday time frame. And this is going to continue to keep the heavy rainfall threat generally in this same region as it slowly makes its way through. You can see it right here as we get into, this is Saturday morning, so this one really taking its time making its way through here, getting into late Saturday. And then as we get into Sunday and Monday, it begins to lift back off to the north and to the east. But we still keep this trough overall kind of anchored in this region. We're going to get little waves making their way down around the base of that trough into the eastern Corn Belt, the central U.S., the mid-Mississippi Valley here. That's going to keep cloud cover and the opportunity for at least light showers and periodic thunderstorms in the forecast as we head into the early part of next week. Of course, lower confidence with those waves that come in on the backside, but high confidence in some heavy rain across parts of the Ozarks and the Ohio River Valley as this taps into some very deep moisture. These two waves here, the Thursday and Saturday wave. Again, look at this, just really deep tropical moisture across the region, really going to set the stage for some heavy precipitation across parts of, again, the Ozarks into the Ohio River Valley. Very deep tropical moisture, high atmospheric moisture content until we get this frontal boundary, until we get this wave to lift off to the northeast, bringing in cooler and less humid air as we head into the early part of next week. So what do we end up with? Well, as we look at the next 10 days, temperatures here over on the left, precipitation on the right. Again, a departure from normal. We see cooler temperatures where you got the blue and the green shading here across the midsection of the country. And then where you see the deep greens and the blues, anywhere from the Ozarks into the Ohio River Valley, that is where we're talking about some excessive precipitation as we head through, especially the next 5 to 7 days. Now we can look at the precipitation forecast and really just break this down with the most specificity as we can at this point. Again, here's our frontal boundary as we get started here on Tuesday, July 28th. The frontal boundary extending from that area of low pressure across eastern Canada all the way through New England, along the Ohio River Valley, and then back into the southern plains. Very long cold front here being lit up with a broken line of showers and storms. Now this frontal boundary continues to park itself here as we get two waves making its way along it as we head through the middle and later part of this work week. And we'll see that begin to flare up here as we get into Thursday, really with some heavy rain, or Wednesday really, across parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas. But then as we get into Thursday, that's when it starts to make its way along the Ohio River Valley. Again, this would be midday Thursday. Lots of showers and storms along this front now from the high plains all the way into the Ohio River Valley. Wave number 2 is starting to make its way in here as we get into late Thursday and Friday. This would be now midnight Thursday into Friday morning. This is when we're going to see wave number 2 really start to take shape across the Ozarks and the Mid-South, the Ohio River Valley, bringing some heavy rainfall to this region late Friday into Saturday. Then we'll see it finally start to lift off to the northeast a little bit quicker as we get into Sunday. This would be midnight Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Sunday sunrise. We'll see this heavy rain now likely shifting into the eastern Corn Belt, parts of Indiana and Ohio that really badly need it. This would be great if we do get this northerly track here that brings some rain into parts of northern Indiana, northern Ohio, and parts of southern Michigan late Saturday into Sunday. And then as we get into the early part of next week, lower confidence, we do see the the heavy rainfall producer lifting off to the northeast, but we're going to see several little disturbances kind of make their way through and back around the base of that trough. We'll have the trough of low pressure across the Great Lakes, the ridge of high pressure, the axis now across the western U.S. So we'll see flow coming around both of these features here, again, just bringing little disturbances in between, the opportunity for cloud covers and maybe a little bit of light precipitation continuing periodically as we head into early next week. So smoothing things out, looking at the ensemble forecast here for total precipitation over the next 7 days, really just to show you the corridor where the heaviest rainfall is going to be expected, and that's from the high plains through the Ozarks into the Ohio River Valley. That is good news across dry area that I'm concerned about here. Number 1, parts of the eastern Corn Belt, the northern halves of Indiana, Ohio, and southern Michigan. This leaves out the dry corridor that we're concerned about here across parts of central and western Iowa. As we look at the probability of picking up an inch of precipitation over the next 7 days, the European ensemble on the left, the GFS ensemble on the right, we see good agreement. Once again, the corridor of the heaviest rainfall with a sharp gradient here, making its way from the high plains down into the Ozarks, parts of eastern Oklahoma and Kansas, and then following that eastward into the Ohio River Valley and parts of the Mid-South. Again, same thing here when we look at the GFS. So this is good news for the most part across the eastern Corn Belt. This should give a handful of people here a good drink, but it does not bring much good news when we talk about this region of central and western Iowa that really has been left out. As we look at the last 30 days, this will help illustrate it much more than my little circles on the other maps. Again, you see the red shading here across parts of central and western Iowa where really have been missed by some of these heavy rainfall events that have slid in and maybe just passed just to the south or passed just to the north. Again, we've got a dry patch as well across the eastern Corn Belt, parts of northern Indiana, much of Ohio, the southern half of Michigan. Better odds of getting some rainfall here as we talk about that Thursday through Sunday time frame than we do across this region here. It just is the way that it looks at this point. Now again, cooler temperatures going to be making their way in as we head deeper into the weekend and early next week. A look at the high temperatures today. 80s generally widespread across the Corn Belt here as we head through the day today. We'll start to bring in some of those cooler temperatures here Wednesday and then into Thursday. Look at that, highs in the 70s across the high plains. We're really going to set up that cooler air mass across the midsection of the country and anchor it in there as we head into the weekend and early next week. A look at your highs on Saturday. 70s becoming widespread across the central U.S.